Hi, good morning. It's Ann with Crazy Farm Living, and today was supposed to be painting day on the farm, but things have changed. So basically, last night was the first frost out here in Paris, Texas, and what we got was some extra water from that. So this area right here is normally dry. You can see it's puddled and full of lots of water, and so that means we have a water leak somewhere, and we need to figure out where that is. At first, we thought it was coming off of this faucet right here. No, not so much. You can see that there's water around it, but that's not where the water's bubbling up from. So we have to kind of do some digging and see where is this water coming from. But follow me for a little bit here. You can see this area is normally pretty dry even after a rain, but it's all soaking wet right now. And we did get some rain out here, but not that much. So we're gonna just follow the water line and see exactly where some of this water is coming from. The first thing we want to check is this right here. This is where normally our water line is, and we turn it on when we come out. And there's normally a blue bucket here or a green bucket, and you can see pretty easily that it is just a puddle of water. So there is plenty of water coming in here, and we've got to figure out where. Yay, fun, right? So we're gonna follow the water line, which comes off of the street over here, and see if we can find it bubbling up somewhere. But you can see, if you take a look over here, this is the bottom of the driveway. I don't know if you can tell, but this is all nice and puddled, and that is not how it normally is. But once again, that first frost came in, and fortunately we're here to kind of catch it so that we can fix it. But if we weren't here, then it just would have been like going on for all week long. So follow me. Let's see if we can figure out where this water is coming from. So this is puddling here. All this is sloshy. You can see it's coming down onto these trees, which is normally not this wet. And if you follow it up here, heading towards the front of the property, oh, look at this right here. So you can see we've got a little moving water, a little current going on, which means that, so right here you can see there's actually a little hole where it's bubbling out of. So logic tells us that's probably where our line is, because if you look right here, it's mushy, but it's not flowing water out. So yay, in the sense that that helps us identify where we need to go to fix it. Boo, as in I was really hoping to paint that upstairs and finish that bathroom today, but that's Crazy Farm Living. Sometimes you just gotta fix the things that have to be fixed. So keep watching as we get this repaired and move on with the rest of the weekend. Okay, so it's time to get started on fixing this water leakage. And so the first thing that we're gonna do is basically we're coming out to the front of the property and we've got to turn off the water. That's the only way to get down there, start digging, is to first turn off the water, mark the spot, and then start digging everything out so we can repair the line. So I'm over here at the main water line. This is out towards the street. I'm just gonna pull this out here. Got my gloves on. Definitely always have your gloves on because you don't know what's living in here. So basically, here's the water line, and I am going to turn it, maybe. There we go. Just turn it off so that we can get the water stopped, and then that way we can start working on the repair. So there we go, nice and tight so it doesn't leak through. So next step, we're gonna go over there, we're gonna mark out the spot so we know exactly where we're digging, and then we'll start getting the repair done, all right? Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and basically X marks the spot. So this was where the water was bubbling up from, right here in this little hole. And so I'm gonna go straight across like this and basically put a flag here. And then I'm gonna go this direction as well, so that I know. I'm gonna put it a little bit farther out so that when we start digging, we don't hit the flag. That basically this line and this line, that marks the spot where our leak is. And we're gonna go ahead and get started. Although I gotta be honest, this looks kind of messy. So I'm gonna step out, go do some things inside the house, and let Frank enjoy all this part of digging up all the mud.
Okay, so Ann called me out. She did the intellectual part, which was coming out and determining where the water was leaking and getting the water shut off. and she's gonna go inside where it's nice and warm because it's like 38 outside. And she said that this is appropriate for grunt worker stuff, which I guess is me. So she marked off where the water was coming out of the ground, and I'm gonna dig it out and see if I can find the pipe. I have no idea how far down it is, but this is Texas where we have this gumbo type dirt. It's like clay and Elmer's glue mixed together. And last time I tried to dig around this time of year, it was a hassle because every piece that I put on the shovel stuck to it, and so it took a really long time. So this is where she marked at. So I'm just gonna dig the first. It's nice and soft, so I guess that's good. I'm gonna pull it out and hey, fell off the shovel that time. Okay, so I'm just gonna dig this out and see how far down it takes me to get to it, and see if I can find anything that looks like a crack in the line. And hopefully there is a crack in the line, because if there's not, it means that it could be farther down, and then I'll have to just start digging and digging until I find it. But then we can get some replacement pieces and get it all fixed up. So, gonna get started now. All right, so I'm digging the hole, and about this far down, I came across this piece of broken pipe. I got excited, I'm like, ooh, I'm close. But since I got this piece out, which I now think is just a scrap piece, I'm digging and I can't find the pipe. I don't know how deep it is. The ground is so wet from the rains that we had that as soon as I take the water out, it keeps coming back, which is making it very difficult to find it. So what we're probably going to do is dig it out a little bit more, turn on the water for a second, and try to look to see where it's shooting into the hole from, so at least I know what direction to keep digging in, and then hopefully we'll find it. So just keep moving. Okay, so I have Ann at the water main. I'm gonna have her turn it on so I can see where the water's flowing into the hole to help give me some direction. So all right, Ann, let's see if we see any water coming in anywhere. Oh yeah, it's coming in. Oh, it's coming in from the side here. So, all right. So it looks like I need to go that way in some of the digging. So the hole was right here when we were first digging. That's where the water was coming out of. But apparently it's tunneled its way through the dirt and it's went off to the side. And so we'll keep digging, see if we can find it.
It doesn't come off the shovel.
It's like glue.
Hunting we will go, hunting we will go. Looking for the water line, a hunting we will go.
Wabbits. Oh,
you see something?
I see some, I see a pipe down here.
Let's see.
Let's see if I can get, it's right in front of this, so let me see if I can dig it out here. If you can see it.
Oh, I see a blue line.
I see a blue line.
I see a blue line, there it is.
And it looks like it's some type of coupling. So I don't know if the coupling came loose. It's a good contractor work there. Now we'll have to have the home improvement guy come in and fix it, which is me.
DIY, baby, DIY.
All right. Well, at least that's promising, because this hole isn't twice as deep as the hole that I was digging on the other side. So we'll dig out around this if I don't run out of energy, and then see what that looks like while it's leaking. Okay, so digging the first hole, not a total waste of time. I think I actually just might have found out a trade secret. You need to get the water. This ground has so much water, it's like seeping in from the sides. Even with the water off, it's still filling up. And we had that when we planted the crepe myrtles. That the water was seeping in when we dug the hole. But by having a deeper hole, I can dig out around the pipe And as the water fills in, it can go into the secondary hole where I can scoop it out with the bucket and keep this area kind of clean instead of trying to do it underwater as the water's filling in. So I got this tool. I'm going to use this to kind of clear out around it. This stuff is just like so sticky, but we're going to clear out some of this mud here, and then we can definitely see the coupling here. I'm almost positive if we turned it on, we'd see it squirting out of this area. This is what will have to be fixed. So all right, there we are. Got the coupling out. I'm gonna have Ann turn the water on real quick just to make sure this is the culprit, and hopefully it is, and we'll fix it. All right. I think we found it. Okay. Nailed it. Okay, so we're going to take the broken piece off and we're going to repair it. So if you look down here, the blue line is separated from the PVC line. This piece right here, it's cracked right where the threads are at. So we're going to cut this piece off. This is a 3/4 to 1 inch coupling. We're going to replace this piece. We're going to see if we can get an extender that can put in between here. If not, we'll just buy a coupler and another piece of 1 inch, schedule 90. And then we'll put it back together. But thankfully, it's not leaking from this side, because replacing the end fitting on that is not something I could do. I'd probably have to hire a professional. With my luck, the guy would come out and go, well, you see, that piece is connected all the way to the end. You got to replace the whole pipe. So thankfully, we're going to try not to go down that route. We're going to try to go with the hardware store route where I can try to do it myself. So cut that off. That's what we're going to do right now. So I'm just going to take this hacksaw and cut this piece out. And this is the piece that we're going to take down to the hardware store and replace. Now normally you could use a PVC cutter, which is super simple, but I don't happen to have one with me at the moment, but I do have a hacksaw. So this works just as well. We'll cut this off, a little sandpaper to get the burrs off, and then we can connect a new piece up to that. So see how easy that is? That's the piece that we're going to replace. And I don't know if you could see it. You probably can't, but there's a little crack right where the threads and the joint hit. I don't know if you could see that, a little crack there. That's the culprit. And that's what we're going to replace. Okay, so back from the hardware store. Got two options. I'm just going to kind of run them by you just so you can kind of hear my thought process behind this. So this piece where the coupling cracked is a common thing because it's very weak right here. The pipe is very thick, but where the coupling is, it's very thin. And then you have this piece of plastic here that goes into a brass fitting, and as the ground heaves or pressure gets applied, something runs over the top of it like a tractor, this flexes and then cracks. And so to try to prevent that, we're going to change it to go from this piece here that's flimsy to a brass knuckle. And so this will screw into the blue pipe coming from the city line. And then on this end, we'll use this piece which is much thicker than this. And this will screw in like this, which will go into this blue line down here. And then we'll connect this part to that pipe. So we have a stronger assembly of pieces. The question that we go at this part is there enough flex there so that this can go into this pipe? Like you'd have to kind of pull them apart, put the primer and the glue on, and then push them together. So the question is there enough flexibility to do that? So I have this piece of pipe here, and I have a coupler in case I need to cut the other one. So it would go this, a piece of pipe, a coupler, and then go back to the line going to the house. So that's one way to do it. The other way, if there's not enough flexibility, is to use one of these. What this does is this goes in like this, and then on this side, if you don't have enough room to like lift up the pipe or pull them apart and push them together, this whole thing pushes in, you put your glue on, and then you expand this out to connect up. So that way if you don't have a lot of flexibility in the pipe because it's set in the ground, this allows you to connect that way. So we're going to try to figure out which one we can go with, and then whichever one works is the one we use. So right here I'm just putting some plumber's tape around this fitting, and I'll do that on both sides, and then I'll use that to screw into the other brass fitting and the PVC pipe. This would screw on like this. And then we'll use some channel locks to tighten that up. And then we'll do the same thing, put some plumber's tape on here, screw it into the blue pipe. Question is, are you still recording? Question is, are you still recording? Okay, so these pipes actually should connect really nice. I actually lifted it up and there's enough flex in here because we dug it back that I could push this in, and I could see that it slides in a decent amount. The only thing problem I kind of have is that water keeps coming into this pipe because the shutoff from the street doesn't come all the way, it doesn't completely shut it off, and I want to try to do this when it's completely dry. And so I'm going to keep drying this off. I got my primer out, my primer and glue, and so I'm going to take the primer and we're going to go around it nice, make sure it's fully covered. Then we'll do this side. I got these black gloves on to help protect my hands from this stuff getting all over it, so I'll put this on again and then put this on this side. So now that the primer's on, we're going to put the glue on. Get the glue. Put the glue here. The glue. This is like almost the last piece here, and then we're going to push these two together. Normally you would do a quarter turn, but I don't have the ability to do that with these on here like this. I mean, I guess I probably could have did it around the knuckle, but we'll just hold these in place for a little bit, about 30 seconds to a minute, and that should be dry enough to let it go. And then we're going to let it sit for about 2 hours, maybe 3, because the weather is around 50 degrees or 55 degrees, so the curing time is a little more than an hour. We'll do that, and then we'll turn on the water and see if any of these are leaking or anything. In the meantime, the first line that's open is a hose bib that's right before it goes to the house. And so that line's open right now. So the first time we turn the water on, we're going to leave that open so that hopefully any dirt inside this line will flush out through that hose bib before it gets into the house. And so so that's kind of the progress. So for right now, I'll just keep holding this for about another minute or so, and then we'll let it cure for a couple hours, and then we'll turn the water on and see what happens. Okay, it's been a few hours, and I ran my hand underneath. I don't see any water other than the water that was already in the hole seeping through the ground, but nothing underneath. And so Anne's at the main, and she's going to turn it on, and we're going to see what it does. There shouldn't be a lot of pressure because I have a hose open, so any debris can shoot out that before it goes into the house. So, all right, Anne. Oh, I can hear the water running through it. That's a good sign. And then I'll see if I can get my hand under this. I don't feel any water. That's a good sign. So what we're going to do is let the water run out the hose like it is. Then we'll turn it off and see if it leaks with any pressure on it. And we'll probably wait until tomorrow before we cover this up. That way we can have a true test of some pressure on it over a 24-hour period or 12-hour period, and then we'll fill it in. Anyways, so far so good. Okay, so the water's on and we shut the hose off, so there should be full pressure on here. And so what Anne's going to do is she's going to just slide her hand around the coupling on the whole thing and see if there's any moisture leaking through. And is there, Anne? Oh, success! So again, we'll wait for tomorrow, and we'll check it again, see if there's any moisture in there, and then if there's not, other than the water coming through the ground, we'll take all of this dirt and we'll fill it back in, and then we'll be done.
Woohoo!
Success!
Yay!
Okay, so it's the next morning. Came out to the hole, looked at it. It's dry. I mean, the pipe itself is dry, except for the water that's left over from yesterday. But it's fixed. It worked. And so I'm happy to say another successful DIY project done. And so the only thing left to do is to fill in the dirt. So that's what I'm going to do now. So thanks for watching Crazy Farm Living.